All right, tonight on the A Zone, we are finally back after what seemed like forever. And tonight we're going to be talking about a couple overseas matches that Calvin shot recently. And then we're also going to be giving updates on our off seasons and what our plans are in the immediate future with regards to shooting stuff. So to start off, Calvin, can you just remind us what the couple matches you shot recently overseas were?
So I went to Finland and I shot Finnish Brutality and then also a level 2 IPSC match.
Cool. That's were they both in Finland?
Yep, they were both in
Nice.
Finland, both at the same range, just 1 week apart.
Oh, cool. So I'm not super familiar with the Finnish Brutality match. So can you kind of give us a brief overview of what that looks like?
Yeah, so these matches are supposed to be more physical. I guess the initial creator of the match, his name is Carl Grisarda from In Range TV. His criticism with like your common 3-gun and USPSA type matches were that everything was very close range for the most part and a lot of really fast, but not so much marksmanship and not so much physicality. So he wanted to have matches that required you to run further distances, carry heavy things, and move them around, so that you would be shooting with more physical stress. So that was kind of like the idea behind it. There were stages where you had to like throw a kettlebell, right? So you'd have to throw it a certain distance and shoot from like where it lands. So the further you could throw it, the fewer times you would have to stop and shoot, essentially. So there were some benefits to being stronger than the other competitors. But what I found was like, despite my lack of physical shape, being a very good marksman, it put me towards the top of the runnings. So I feel like if I was in a lot better shape, it wouldn't have helped me that much. But if I was a much better shooter, it would have saved me a lot of time, because there were a lot of small targets kind of far away. You couldn't see them. Most of the steel, or none of the steel, was painted. So you were shooting gray steel on essentially gray berms because of the way the lighting was at the range. So that's kind of like the whole match. It's supposed to be more quote unquote realistic, depending on your definition of realistic. And there's hardly any times where you took follow-up shots. Most targets were a one shot, and then you transition to something else.
So this guy must have come up with this idea after just dominating all of the USPSA matches he went to, I assume, right? I'm just kidding. That was mean. No, that sounds fun though.
It's a different style of shooting.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm just joking.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, this is with rifle and pistol.
Okay, that's cool. And that's like full-blown rifle for the people that don't know, right? It's not pistol caliber.
Right.
Cool.
So you could use, there's a couple different divisions. I can't remember the names of all of them. But like, I think there's one called Armored, where you literally have to wear body armor, and it has to be like a certain weight. And they actually weigh your stuff to make sure that you are carrying that much. Then you have like an open division, basically, so anything goes as far as your rifle and pistol. And then they had Irons division, which is what I shot. Being a production shooter, I like my iron sights and keep on shooting them until I can, I can't see them anymore. And there was also a Recon division, which wasn't so much the match itself, but it was like an add-on where after every stage you'd run 2 miles. So
wow.
There were 5 stages every day, and after each stage you're running 2 miles. That adds up to 10 miles a day, and they time you, and like there's just like a separate award for getting the fastest overall time with the running included.
Yeah, that's legit a lot of running.
Oh yeah.
I would not be doing that part of it.
You run a lot, don't you?
I don't enjoy it though.
Calvin, I'm looking at your practice score for the match, and I don't like that the score is measured in time in thousands.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The stages were 3 minutes long, and a lot of the times it took you the whole time. So there was a lot of it is just based on how many penalties you don't accrue. Each miss on a target or like a no shoot was a 1 full minute penalty, 60 seconds. Yeah. So it really paid dividends to slow down, get your hits, as much as I hate to say it.
Well, at least you're getting your money's worth at that match. At USPSA, you show up and shoot for like 60 seconds. This match, you got 1,000 seconds.
That's
And
true.
there's people who
That
don't
makes
pay
it better. Yeah.
And there's people who don't pace targets at USPSA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the one good thing about these brutality matches is that it's pretty much all steel targets, so there's no pasting.
That's cool.
But a stage might have like 3 targets max, and you're just constantly shooting the same ones over and over as you run to different places.
Oh, I see.
Wait,
Yeah,
do they like call hit and stuff?
Yes.
Oh,
they
how
call hit in English.
how
for
the
you.
mighty have fallen, Calvin.
What's the
There's only one person that I know hates being called, and it's you.
I know. It didn't happen to me, thank goodness. But there were some times where a competitor hit a target and the RO didn't see it or didn't hear it, so they had to shoot at it again.
Yeah, that's kind of the main downfall of that style of scoring.
Yeah, but the positive thing is there's no prizes for winning anything other than a patch. So like no one really got butthurt about the scoring too much. It was more of like the camaraderie and the experience than it was about competing. It's just a different environment overall.
Who goes for that?
I was about to say there's no prizes at most USPSA matches, and I still don't want to get screwed at those.
Get a high five and a slap on the butt.
I think for most people, this is like a chance to hang out and actually shoot your guns, because this took place in Europe, so in Finland, where now in Finland itself, they have a pretty strong practical shooting culture. They have something called SRA, which is basically a power factor 2-gun, but a military style match, and then they have a lot of IPSC there. But in other countries around them, practical shooting, at least a military-ish or tactical style practical shooting, doesn't really exist. It doesn't have a strong following like it does in Finland. Yeah, because Finland, they have conscription. So like, I don't know if it's everybody, but I believe like all males are required to serve to some extent. Yeah,
That's not
so
it's not very inclusive.
No, females have the option.
Oh God, are we gonna go here? Hold on, I'm starting the recording over. Well, sounds really fun. I'm poking fun at it, but that does sound legitimately cool.
It's a good time. If you've never done it and you get a chance to, I think it's worth trying at least once.
Yeah, it
bring
sounds
out,
like
bring
it.
out all your cool Timmy guns. You get to wear multi-cam and leg straps and all the molly you want, and no one's gonna judge you.
It sounds like a lie.
So what guns did you use before we move on to the next match? I'm just curious. What did you shoot?
So I shot a 12.5-inch Daniel Defense AR-15. It had Magpul M-Bus Pro sights on it, and a Geisley Super Dynamic 3-gun trigger. So like very familiar setup. I think if you handed any American who like has shot an AR-15 before, they won't be confused by that setup. And then the pistol was a SIG P320 Legion in a Safari Land holster. So kind of.
Those are both borrowed, right?
Yeah, they're both borrowed. I didn't bring my own guns. I didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
People did though. Like people did the paperwork and brought their own guns if they wanted. I just wasn't willing to do it for that match.
Yeah.
But I don't think the guns really mattered that much at this match because everything is transitions. So like you could have brought like almost anything and been competitive, like anything semi-auto.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, so then you also shot the Ipswich match while you were over there. So my big question is, you've shot a bunch of majors in the U.S. What is a major Ipswich match like compared to what we're all familiar with here in the U.S.?
And there's a few differences, but nothing huge. Probably the biggest one was that we took turns taping. So like half the squad, well, not or half the match would do all the resetting for the first half of the day, and then the other half would shoot, and then we would swap. So when you are shooting, you are concentrating only on shooting. You don't have to worry about anything else. You're just shooting and loading mags, and it makes the shooting go by really quick because when you have like half-size squads, like you're just shooting a stage, you're reloading mags, and then by the time you're loading mags, it's pretty much time to move to the next stage. So
Wow.
everything went by really, really quick in a good way. So I like that about that. I don't know if it would work for every match here in the U.S. Because like I don't know, I've never tried it, but it would be interesting to see how it works out here. I've heard of other Ipswich matches like in Canada doing the same thing, and I don't know what the culture is in other countries. But that's how they did that particular match.
Nice. So in Ipswich they do like you're not allowed to see the stages until it's your official walkthrough time, right? Is that the
Right.
case?
Yeah, and
So
I
that's
don't
kind of
know
interesting.
how much that really helps, or because we were RO or because we were taping and ROing for the other half of the match. Technically, we got to see the stages being shot.
Oh, I see.
Oh, what a cheater.
I know, right? But because of that rule, the stages were very straightforward. There was no memory stages, and there wasn't any crazy like array splits to where you had to like figure out just like how to like shooting orders of different targets and like make your reloads work around them. There was no weird things like that. Pretty much all the good shooters had very similar stage plans. Like there was no like big brain stage plan that anyone did, except for one of mine, that like made a difference.
Did it change? So I know you said you had some time like pasting or repairing stages like to look at stuff, but do you think that the flavor of like of competitiveness or shooting or performance would change like in USPSA if there was like a limitation on walkthroughs? I feel like a lot of time people like kind of over engineer their approach, but it would like totally be different on a 5-minute limitation. But I don't have any facts to back that up. Like, do you feel like your experience at this IPSE match like kind of points towards that? Like, you'd get a whole like different set of plans if it was always 5 minutes.
I think there would be fewer like maybe less variety because people wouldn't be able to come up with like as creative plans as quickly. And I'd also think that the stages would also simplify as far as the like weird like just presentations. And I think that the stages would they'd have to be more straightforward.
Do you consider that to be like a net positive thing or worse for like the different like variants from that?
I think Ipswich it tests your shooting ability a lot more than your stage planning and stage memorization. And like so it's just testing different skills. Ipswich also noticed the way they lay out their stages and the targets are not clumped together as much. So you have to do a lot of entries and exits. So instead of like stopping and shooting, 4 or 5 targets or even more, like you do in USPSA, you may stop for just 2 targets, move again for 1, and then move again for another one. So it's definitely a slower paced as far as like the stage designs go, and the hit factors are all lower. I think the highest hit factors in production were like 7. That's like a pretty high hit factor stage, except for one speed shoot. We had one speed shoot that was like an 11 hit factor, but that was like that was not the norm.
You shot production, right?
Yeah, I shot production. So contrary to the United States, production over there is the biggest and most popular division.
It's 15 rounds, right?
15 rounds. So there was a lot less planning around reloads.
Oh, nice.
I don't think 15 rounds really changes the game though. At least for Ipswich, because you have so much movement. There's a lot of time where you could be reloading, and what doesn't hurt as bad. It's I think in the United States with our stages where we clump like 14 targets, you shoot in one position. That's where the 10 and 15 rounds kind of makes a difference. Just my opinion.
If you had to say hot take, which one you prefer? Is it IPSC production or USPSA production?
Man, that's tough because I like both, and Ipswich because it's new to me. It's like the new cool thing. So I don't know if I like Ipswich just because it's new and different, or because it's like objectively better. I can't decide. I think with the way the stages are designed here in the States, towards all the high cap shooters, Ipswich is more fun to shoot as a production shooter.
No one's going to report you to the BOD, Calvin. It's fine to say you like
They might. I'm gonna get banned. Fucking.
Well, you're talking about Ipswich instead of USPSA. You'll be fine. You're not criticizing USPSA.
There's some differences in the culture of the stage design that makes me want to shoot Ipswich if I was shooting production. Is that like politically correct?
Who knows anymore?
Some other weird things like that I might throw. Like actually, one of the most comments I got was of me shooting at white targets instead of brown. So over there, like they like to have high contrast targets instead of us, where we like to shoot, at camouflage targets, train like you fight. When it's warm out, they shoot white targets and use the browns for no shoots. And then when it's snowing, they use the brown for their targets and then whites for no shoots.
Oh, they switch it like halfway through. That would confuse me probably.
That seems like super logical, but something that and maybe it's just because I buy shitty targets, but I feel like the white side, the perf's always worse. Do you guys notice that?
Yeah,
like the perfs are shitty on the
side.
At least the targets here in the US.
Yeah.
So for theirs, I think they have separate targets because the ones we shot at, the perf was on the white side.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
assuming they have targets that are brown with perf on the brown side also. That's my guess. I don't know. I should probably ask.
Because I mean, that's the thing, right? Like you guys, I mean, everyone looks at the target, the whole target focus thing. We're not going to go there again, but like that's the thing, right? Like the how much perf shows up is kind of relevant. So it's like if you had the brown perf, like brown side perf, and shot at the white side, it'd be like horrible to shoot at.
Would it? I don't know if I ever noticed the perfs when I'm like, unless it's like a 5-yard target. I don't think I see it.
Yeah, even shooting at white targets with perf, I don't think I ever saw it. They do put the targets a lot further out in Ipswich.
Oh yeah.
Like there was very few times where we had like 5-yard targets. It was very seldom. Most of them were gonna be like in the 12 plus. Like 12 was your close range there.
Wow, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. Is that the average pistol engagement range in Europe?
Oh, their average pistol engagement range is like 0, so it doesn't happen.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think you have to have stronger fundamentals to be able to shoot an Ipswich match and leave like happy, I guess. Because you're gonna feel like poo-poo when you shoot at all these like 12 to 25-yard targets, and there's no 3-yard targets for you to blast on.
Nah, be a hero. Go raw time champ.
Yeah, mentally, I'm like, I'm never gonna shoot Ipswich because I'm all about blasting 3-yard targets with an open gun. So
it should be super easy for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's like some other weird things. Like they're only allowed to have 2 kilos of powder at their home at any given time. So, which is 4.4 pounds of powder. So
that's
like
it?
not very. Yeah. So not that many people shoot open.
Yeah,
because it's such a pain in the ass.
The only kind of powder Americans measure in kilos is the kind you snort up your nose. So I have like literally no frame of reference.
Well, basically
neither.
half a jug. You can have up to half a jug of powder in your home. Of all the powders combined. So if you load for major and minor and rifle, you basically you're screwed.
Is that actually enforced? Like, not that I would be willing to risk it, but I'm just curious.
No,
Like, does someone
it's
come
not
around and
enforced.
like weigh your powders?
No, it's not. But
I
I
mean,
think
I wouldn't
because
want to
of
risk it
their
either, but
yeah, and because of their firearms laws, like the way the system works, like most of them are not willing to risk it either. It takes 2 years to get a handgun. So like you apply for your license and you get it, and then like you have like this 2-year probationary period to where you have to shoot at a club and prove that you're competing or practicing that you're competent, but you have to use like a borrowed gun the whole time for 2 years. So
wow.
you
Is
know
it-
how over here
is it
people
per
can get
pistol?
into like what's that?
Is it per pistol?
No, it's just the initial like
Okay,
your
okay.
pistol license or whatever. And then after that, then you can buy guns. I think pretty easy. It's not super easily, but you can get like your license for each one without having to wait. So I think there's fees involved. But yeah, so like the people here who become like GMs in a year or two because they're able to practice a lot or they practice intelligently. That's basically not happening over there because the first 2 years you're borrowing the club's guns and you can't take them home. So there's no dry firing.
I don't even know what practicing intelligently looks like, so.
I don't either. I pretend I do.
Well, cool. That sounds like it was a really fun experience, and that's the first time you've shot an overseas match before, right?
It was the first time I shot an overseas IPSC match. I shot IDPA overseas, which is just like
Gotcha.
shooting IDPA in America. That's a whole different subject in itself. Like they just argue about the rules. You just can't understand what they're saying, but they're arguing about the rules.
Sounds about right. All right. Well, I think unless you guys have more questions for Calvin, I was going to see if we go around and talk about what we're doing for off season and our plans for the foreseeable future when it comes to shooting. So I can start off. I haven't live fire practiced in a while, but I am dry firing at least sometimes. And I have started recently to shoot my practice with my carry optics guns again. So that's pretty fun. Probably going to shoot carry optics for the foreseeable future.
No more production?
I mean, I'm not getting rid of my production guns. Let me put it that way. But like, I think I'm going to switch. I'm sure I'll shoot production more in the future, but I don't know, especially with you out of town and us like not going to the same matches recently. I was like, seems kind of pointless. There's like no one else shooting production.
Man, see, we gotta get you shooting Ipswich, dude, because everyone shoots production. It's so much more fun.
I'd be about that. I would be super about that actually, because I like shooting iron sights and I like doing at least a couple reloads. But yeah, so that's me. What do you got coming up, Matt?
Literally, it is just loading ammo. I don't really have much plans for the winter other than like experimenting with a rifle here and there.
What kind of experimenting? Like a practical rifle or just like getting
some
loads?
practical carbine and also just messing with precision ammo for a little bit.
What's your precision setup?
Literally borrowing my brother's 308.
Oh, okay.
That was judgment, Matt, if you didn't catch that.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, there should be a rifle related shooting book coming out at some point soon, right? So I've heard. You guys
you might not want to
that?
say. Yeah, Connor, you might not want to say the guy's name for at risk of our membership.
Oh, is this like if you say the name 3 times, then Sherwin will come ban us? He'll appear behind me.
They have freaking banners of his store at all the major matches.
Yeah, it's a kind of a funny situation, but
let's ban Ben Steger. Let's put up banners of all of his store all over our matches.
Sure, as long as they keep, as long as the checks keep coming in, they'll keep putting up whatever banners they want.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy the book, Connor, because I'm a sweat and I love stupid shit.
I'm
I
gonna buy it too.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it too. I don't really know why, because I haven't touched a rifle in like a really long time. But I'm hoping that this will motivate me to maybe like at least do some dry fire. I probably am too lazy to drive to the range where I can shoot rifles at. But
I'm pretty sure Calvin and I are gonna drag your ass out to ETTS and do some practical carbine stuff.
if y'all go, I'll go. But I'm not about to like drive out there early in the morning on the weekend by myself. When if I'm gonna do that, I'd just rather shoot pistols, frankly. But if it's a group outing, then I could be peer pressured.
Yeah, so one thing I've noticed about these rifle matches is that you lose a lot of time getting into shooting positions, like specific marksmanship positions that you need to get stable enough to hit the targets. In USPSA, you don't have a whole lot. People waste time like not having their gun up and ready, but it's not dependent on a prone, kneeling, or crouching or whatever like specific shooting position you have to get in. So I think this is probably where like most people, especially myself, can like shave time off of shooting rifle.
Setting up for the position.
Yeah, it's not so much like splits. Like everyone can shoot fucking fast splits. If you have a decent gun, anyone can shoot like fairly tight doubles. But the moving from position to position and getting set up for shots, that's where I noticed everyone was losing time.
That makes sense. Also, it's Calvin's
Troy.
turn, right? Or, Calvin, did you talk about your off season already?
No, not yet.
So what are you planning on doing?
Jack shit. I haven't touched my Tanfo in I don't know how many weeks now. And
well, hey, if you wanna change it up, I can loan you a Shadow too, and you can have some fun with that.
Oh, I didn't mention that I used a Shadow 2 at the Ipswich Match.
Calvin's shooting open. I'll shoot your Shadow. And you're shooting Glock. And Matt is I don't know what the fuck Matt's shooting.
He's shooting a rifle.
Yeah, Matt's shooting.
Calvin, I need to borrow your MP5 again.
Okay, well, you can only borrow it when I'm there because of laws. But yeah, I shot that Shadow 2, which is so much different from a Tanfo. Like people, if you look at the two guns, you'd think they're like the same shit. They're not. The way like they point, like the index is completely different. So yeah, it's like a total retraining. It's like I don't know what other analogies to use, but it's like trying to use a golf club to hit a baseball. Like it's just so weird.
I'm really honest. I mean, I believe you. I'm still just really surprised to hear you say that because I had like the opposite experience. Because I have a Shadow 2, obviously, and a stock 2, and I can almost not tell the difference between them if I'm not looking at them.
Really? Were you doing predictive shooting? Because like anytime I was doing predictive shooting, like out of the holster, my gun would be pointed in a way different direction than I was looking.
You see what judgment feels like, Calvin?
What's that?
What feels like?
I said, do you see what judgment feels like?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it probably comes down to like the literal way different people grip the gun, because like if you have your hand in like a marginally different position, it could make a big difference. Then the small differences in the frame or something will move your hands around more. So it's probably pretty dependent on the individual person shooting them.
Yeah, I was using a lot of confirmation 2 on what probably could have been confirmation 1 at the match.
Yeah, that seems like the safe bet if you're shooting an unfamiliar gun, is just like do more reactive shooting when you might otherwise do predictive.
Which kind of worked out because the targets were pretty far anyway. So
yeah,
for most of them.
Well, anyways, so your off-season plan is just to play it by ear, it sounds like, or do you have any?
Probably gonna buy some more guns, gonna reload some stuff. I've got like vintage calibers I'm like loading for, messing around with.
Cool.
So like still gun stuff, but nothing performance really related.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Coy, what's up with you over the next couple weeks, months, however long?
I've got a rifle match with Calvin this weekend. So obviously I shot my gun first time this year on Monday, and I'm gonna do it one more time tomorrow, and then we're shooting this match. So excellent planning as usual. I've been doing off season already for like 3 months. I'm probably just gonna shoot more rifle stuff. I feel like the latest meme thing, since you asked about rifle stuff, I'm trying to figure out what the what's I don't know what Ben calls it, but like the standard drill with handgun and rifle. Need to figure out what that
CQB
is.
warm up.
Yeah, CQB warm up. Yeah, I want to do that thing, and then I'm just
Same.
saying, if fucking J Beal can shoot a bill drill at 25 yards in 2 seconds, then we got to do 6 alpha bill drill at 50 yards with a rifle. That's like the meme thing, right? We just have to do it. It's got to be possible, right? If somebody can do it with a handgun, it's got to be possible to do it with the rifle.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts, that video.
I'm trying to like the times. I feel like it's super doable because you don't have a draw.
Mhm.
So just to lift the gun up and fire the first shot, probably like what, a half second, maybe a little bit longer, it's like 6/10. So then you have 1.4 seconds to fire 5 more shots. That's
It'd be
pretty.
possible, but it's also 50 yards.
I mean, it's gonna take some skill and practice, obviously, but it's like not. I feel like that'd be easier to do than trying to get all alpha 25-yard handgun at 20, from the holster.
You're making me think I should push it out further now. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it at 50, and then I'll try to do it at 75 or something.
There you go. Just like start 50 and work your way out. I'm not gonna say it's like super easy. I don't think anyone can just do it by showing up, but I think it's gonna take a lot less effort than being able to do it with a handgun at 25.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, guys. Well, I don't have anything else for this episode unless somebody else can think of something.
No, we need to close it off. The episode's going too long.
We did
We're good.
Matt's tired of talking to us, so all right, as usual, stay tuned and thanks for listening. There we go. I was waiting for it.